Hi everyone, my name is Haley and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a book tag. I haven't done one yet and I figured it would be a good way for you guys to get to know me a little bit, get to know the books that are on my TBR, and have a little chit chat type video. I like filming these types of videos. So the tag I'm going to be doing today is the intimidating TBR pile tag, and I'll be reading the questions off of my iPad, so I'll be looking down here. I have a lot of books on my TBR and it was kind of hard to figure out the books that I wanted to choose for these answers, so leave a comment down below if you have any of the same books on your TBR, or if you want to answer the questions along with me. I'd love to know what your guys' TBR piles are like. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The first question is, which book on your TBR pile have you not finished? I am not proud of this answer because I've been reading this book since March, and that is Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, the third and final book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I have less than 100 pages left. I did start this in March, and then I got really busy with school because I was finishing up my last semester of university, so I did not really read any books in April and May. And then I just kind of didn't want to get back into the universe. They're not my favorite books now that I've sat with it for a little bit and gone over what I liked and what I didn't like throughout the series, so it's just really hard for me to finish it. And I had just watched Shadow and Bone on Netflix, so I feel a little bit burnt out, but I'm going to finish this before the end of May. Next question is, what's a book that you haven't had the time to read? For this, I'm going to say The Lord of the Rings, Part 1, The Fellowship of the Ring. It's a pretty chunky book. This version is 530 pages, and it was written in 1954. I'm nervous about the language, if it's going to be a little bit difficult to understand. It's high fantasy, we all know Lord of the Rings, but I've never read high fantasy written in the 1950s, so it's really long. It's not really long, it's a longer book, and I'm also worried about if I'm going to understand what's going on. I think I will. I think I'm not giving myself as much credit as I should, but I really want to just read this when I have all the time to absorb everything that's going on and read the whole series. So I didn't want to start this while I was doing school because I feel like I wouldn't be giving it all the attention that it deserves. The next question is, what book have you not read because it's a sequel? For that, I have Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, the second book in the Last Hours trilogy, I believe. I haven't even read Chain of Gold yet because I'm currently rereading the series with my friend, and I was going to reread The Infernal Devices with her, so I have not reread it yet to get to this, if that makes sense. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I love the Shadowhunter Chronicles. It's one of my all-time favorite series, and I know that there has been nothing but good things said about this series, so I'm really looking forward to it. I just have a few more books to get through before I tackle it. Okay, the next question says, do you have a book you haven't read yet because it's brand new? I didn't really know what to say for this. I haven't really bought any brand new releases from this month or the month before, but the most recent release I believe I own is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I picked this up at Costco. Actually, my parents picked this up for me at Costco a few months ago. Yeah, this was published this year. I'm not exactly sure which month. I don't read a lot of historical fiction, so I'm excited to get into it and see if I like it. I also have Firefly Lane and The Nightingale on my Kindle, so I'm excited to get into her books and see if I like them since I have a few that I want to read. But I believe this is the newest book that I have on my shelf. The next question is, have you got a book by an author you read before but didn't really like? I don't want anyone to come for me for this answer, but that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. As you can tell from my first answer, I'm not having the best luck with the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I haven't read Six of Crows yet, so I don't know if I will like that more, but I'm excited to read this because I want to get out of the Grishaverse and I want to see what else she can do and what this world is like. I'm still kind of confused on what it's about. I know it's dark academia vibes and someone being chosen to go to Yale for something. So I really hope that I enjoy this more than the Grishaverse. I'm excited for this one. Next question. Is there a book in your TBR pile that you're not in the mood to read? For this, I chose A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. I had started this on my Kindle from my library, and then I decided to just pick it up when I was at Barnes & Noble after I had to return it, and I didn't finish it. But I think I'm at a point in my reading life right now where I don't really want to read YA fantasy retellings, so I'm not sure when I'm gonna get around to this. And it's 3 books, so I know I'll have to devote a good chunk of time and energy to reading them. So I want to give it a fair shot. I don't think I'm gonna reread it or pick it up again anytime soon, but that could change. If it changes, I'll let you know. And I'm matching. Maybe I should read it just for the aesthetic. I'm not really in the mood to read this right now. And the next question is, what book have you put off reading because it's huge? For this, I chose The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I think this is almost, yeah, it's like 765 pages. It's a pretty thick book. I have never read this before. I know I'm a little bit late to the game, but I have always wanted to read it, and I never watched the movie because I want to read this, obviously. It's been on my shelf for a couple of months now, but it is big, and I didn't have the time to devote to it when I was doing school, but now I think I will, and I'm excited to get into it. I didn't know it was this big when I bought it. I bought it online, and I didn't realize that it was this long, so I'm excited to see what happens. I only know like the basic premise. I don't know much more than that, so I'm excited to see what I can find out in 765 pages. Next question is, do you have a TBR that you mostly bought because of the cover? I didn't really have a straight answer that was like, oh, I bought this because of the cover, because for this answer, I bought this edition because of the cover, but I wanted to get this book anyways. It's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. This cover is so beautiful. I was at Half Priced Books and I saw this, and I want to do a video where I read American classics, so I was looking to pick this up, and I just had to get this version because it's stunning. I love the colors, again, kind of matching. I wanted to read this already, but the cover definitely made me pick it up right then and there. Okay, the last question is, which book in your TBR do you find the most intimidating? I picked 2 because I couldn't decide which one I found more intimidating. So I picked Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. I'll talk about this one first. I've never seen the movie because I want to read the book first. And it's not intimidating because it's long. It's a longer book, but it's not more than 500 pages. When I read the synopsis of the movie, it sounded so confusing because there's so many characters and so many plot lines, and I don't know if they intersect or if it's just different stories throughout the novel. So I think I'm intimidated just because the storyline seems a little bit confusing, or there's just a lot going on. So this is one answer. And then the second one that I chose is Dune by Frank Herbert. I chose this one because it is a little bit long. It's a little over 600 pages, but also because this was first written in 1965, and I don't know how sci-fi is like in the 60s, just like I don't know how high fantasy is in the 50s. So I guess I'm a little bit nervous for the language again. Maybe there's just a different writing style and some lingo that we don't really use anymore. I guess I'm intimidated because of that. And when I watched the trailer for the movie, it seemed really confusing. And at the end, there's like a glossary for some of the words in the book. So it makes me nervous that I am gonna have to keep flipping back and forth to remind myself what these words mean. But I guess that just means it's a very immersive world and it will pull me in, I hope. This is the other book that I am intimidated to read. Those were all the questions for the intimidating TBR pile tag. I had a ton of fun doing this tag. It was a little bit challenging to pick out the answers, but I'm happy with them. I'm looking forward to tackling some of the books on this list. If you guys saw any books on here that are also on your TBR, please comment down below. If there are any books on here that you want to see a reading vlog about, or a review on, also comment that down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and spending your time watching it. I hope you're all staying safe, I hope you're all reading great books, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!